TV7 as this is kicking off the 2001 football season as we're here in Carter Field, a wet Carter Field tonight as it's been raining pretty much all day. Finally, the rains have broke off. And I tell you what, Josh, the way it looks around here, we should be in for a sloppy ball game.
Yeah, I always love to come out and watch a good ball game after it's rained all day in the field soaking wet, and it's really unpredictable how it's going to turn out.
Absolutely. Now, the last time we saw these Vardaman Rams, it was when they did play a game in the rain. Well, actually, we brought you the best we could as they played Durant in the North Half Championship and got beat. So, if anything, we could say the rain is going to be in Bruce's favor.
Yeah, like you said, that last game, it just didn't turn out the way they would like it to, and they just hopefully come out better tonight.
Well, it's been a while since we saw these two teams play each other. As a matter of fact, if you go back to 1992, 10 years ago, when the Bruce Trojans, come into Vardaman and won with a 40-27 victory, as the Bruce won the toss and deferred, and Vardaman is going to get the ball here in the first half of action. And as that, we get ready for both teams to run through. We're going to take you to a quick break and be back after this. And we're back after the singing of the national anthem. I'll tell you what, Josh, this season brings two different situations for both these teams to the table. You look at Bruce last year coming off their first losing season in a decade with a 2-9 mark. They're looking for that old dominant force to resurface again and maybe show signs starting off tonight against this Vardaman team.
Yeah, I think they might have that this year, because especially tonight in this game, because seeing the Vardaman does not have Odie this year, and I think it'll be a pretty tough game.
Well, you brought up a good point there. As for Vardaman on the other side of the table, this year they're out to prove that there is life after Odie. And you look at it, they have a pretty good point. Only thing that's going against them this year is the fact that they do not have an experienced line as last year. But Horton, the running back last year, had over 800 yards rushing behind Odie Armstrong. And you saw how many times Odie carried the ball. So that's saying a lot for this kid, Horton. And right now, what I say for this Vardaman team is going to be the speed. They won't have a strong defense because they're losing Odie also, because Odie is one of the best two-way players there was. But this year it's going to be on the defensive shoulder. They're not going to be able to shut out many teams, but really have to look at it. It's going to be getting that line experienced.
Yeah, you're right. You're talking about Greg Horton. Now, a lot of people did say that he could have been, just as good as Odie if he'd have got to carry the ball as many times as he did.
Well, this year is his year to shine. As you said, they're without Odie this year. He's playing football at ICC. As we're ready to go here, Bruce is going to be kicking things off.
The Trojans in the house.
And we'll slowly get these names read off to you as we look at, I believe, number 20 doing the kicking jobs for Bruce. It's going to be Jeffrey Justice. So Justice to do the kicking duties here early, if that is correct. That is correct. So here we go as you see Bruce lined up in the huddle. Vardaman playing to anticipate the onside kick. We saw it last year. Bruce was taking run up to the ball and fake the onside kick, as they do it again this year. So same old coming out of Bruce so far this year. There's a lot of hype in this ball game. Not a very long trip for the Bruce Trojans, so we should be seeing the crowd slowly but surely build during this ball game.
Yeah, this is about a 20-minute drive from Bruce over here to Vardaman. This is a very big rivalry here.
Absolutely. It's a good rivalry to get started right back. As you see there early, the wetness of the ground is becoming a factor as number 4 for the Rams, Melvin Pierce, got the ball and ended up slipping down as he was not able to return the ball that time. So the Vardaman Rams will start at around the 17-yard line. So this is where Vardaman is going to set it off. And Josh, this year, yes, you said they don't have Odie. So this is really, to me, going to let Vardaman be able to open up the offense and get a little bit more creative. You got Horton in the backfield, but you also got players like John Harden and other receivers like that really have a lot of talent that wasn't being able to showcase because just a talented player as Odie.
Yeah, they have a good chance of passing this year, and instead of having to run the ball just about every single time, but there they show a good running the ball.
That time Horton did carry the ball. Good piece of running that time by Horton. He didn't try to do anything fancy that time. He knew the ground's wet. He ain't going to be cut hard, so he just took and tucked that ball under, held on to it, and was able to hold it up, pick it up in that time as he picked up 4 yards. So it's early in the ball game, 11.5 to go here in the first quarter of action. Vardaman this year, as we said, trying to prove that there's life after Odie, along with Bruce. This is where Bruce is going to be key right here on defense. Last year they were struggling on defense. You could say they're running looks like a 3, maybe 4-man line. So this is where really, they can take advantage of this young line of Vardaman, trying to show some different things and confuse them. As there's Horton turning the ball up the field, did a good job of running that time. He got what he got, and then he just put his head down and picked up the rest.
Yeah, that was a good job of seeing the defensive player come around the end. He was able to cut back and cut upfield for about 3 more yards.
Well, we got 3rd down and less than a yard to go for the Vardaman Rams. Good job of defense that time by Bruce, able to pursue him and really just close in on him at the end. But I believe the referees want a timeout to measure this one. It is going to be close, but I do believe they got the mark right. They're going to be a little shy of the 1st down. I'd like to apologize to everybody. Right now we're having a little technical difficulty with the monitor, so we're bringing you this ball game looking through the eyepiece. So we're doing it the best as we can give it. I'd like to introduce everybody who's joining me tonight is Josh Chandler along with the mic. And running the camera is going to be Jeremy Brown. Most people know him as Dudley. And along with us doing the stats as usual is going to be Ken Johnson. So as we said, it's going to be a short one to go for the 1st down for the Vardaman Rams. This is classic Ram football right here. You know where the ball is going. It's going right to the fullback up the middle, and he's going to try to power up for that 1st down.
Yeah, that's basically like you're just saying. You pretty much know where it's going to go because they had to do it all last year. But maybe they can come out and change a little bit this year.
Absolutely. But I believe the defining factor for the Vardaman Rams this year is going to be the quarterback. Last year he was a freshman, and he really impressed me as a freshman, playing above what he normally does. I say, if I wouldn't have seen the roster, you couldn't have told me this kid wasn't a senior last year.
Yeah, you're right. He's just played absolutely great last year, and there he goes, almost just the 1st down.
I believe he did get the 1st down that time. Good job that time by Vardaman, just doing the quick count, and just West that time taking it under and twisting up for the run. Number 16 for the Trojans on the tackle that time. That's Thornton. So the Rams slowly just pounded up the middle. Last year we saw the Rams, they take and pound it, and then bust out for a big run. I don't believe we're going to see that this year. This year they want to take and chew up a lot of the clock and just really put a lot of the pressure on the defense's shoulders.
Yeah, last year they sort of anticipate what they're going to do, but this year they're going to have to take it down by down and just see what unfolds.
Absolutely. As you see, Bruce puts 4 men on the line again this time. If I was Bruce, I'd be doing a lot of shifting on that defensive line. I see West going to be out to pass. We got a man wide open, number 6 down the field. Just overthrew him by a step. I tell you what, Barry that time, he was just 1 step away from busting it open. That's what we see. That's what we're used to seeing out of the Rams. That pass was there, and on down the line during the season, once you get your rhythm down, former quarterback, so later down through the season, eventually those steps start to match up with each other, and you'll be able to connect on those passes.
Yeah, the first game of the season, everybody's going to be a little anxious and nervous, but like you said, later on down the year, they'll be able to complete that pass.
So that's going to bring up 2nd down and 10 to go. Bruce, once again, 4-man line. As I was making the point a while ago, I'd take to show some blitz from the linebackers, maybe just flip-flop your lineman there and just do a lot of confusion, because this is a real young line. You see Horton get the ball. That time, good job of wrapping up and pulling him down that time as he picked up maybe 3, giving credit for a tackle of 65, Chris Britt for the Trojans.
Yeah, like you were saying, all they have to do, the defensive line, just swap up and show up the different looks, and I think that would kind of confuse them a little bit.
3rd down and 7 from the 31 of the Rams as 9:40 to go here in the 1st quarter. Bruce this year dressing out a lot of players. I believe they read in the paper they're dressing out about 40 players, but they're a youth-oriented team. So this Bruce team, if this year would just be, as we have flags on the play. Wasn't watching that time. I was looking down. I believe it's going to be against Vardaman, as Ken's showing. But as I was saying, this is a young Bruce team, and this is where the experience right here. They even have an 8th grader listed as Isaiah Thomas. He's a pretty good basketball player from the past. But either way it goes, 5-yard illegal procedure penalty against the Rams. So that's going to be 3rd down and 12 to go. But as I was saying, this is a young team. This year really is going to be another learning year. Next year, you got to look out for these Bruce Trojans.
Yeah, it helps to have, a young group that can stay together and sort of learn how each other plays on down the line.
As West steps under the center, steps back to pass over the middle, nowhere near Harden that time. Harden that time was covered by 3 players, so good job by defense that time. So 4th down for the Rams. It's something the Vardaman Rams ain't used to. They're used to coming out and just scoring on just about every drive. So look at Bruce, they did a good job on defense that time. Now we get the opportunity to see them as they get the ball on offense. So we'll see who's got 2 men going back for the Trojans. Looks to be number 2, Kermetrius Wright, and number 5, Gillespie, back to receive. I tell you what, Demetrius Wright, he didn't play last year due to an injury. This kid right here, he's going to be a big factor for this Bruce team.
Yeah, I think he'll be pretty good. He's got the speediness and the quickness of a good returner.
Number 2, Demetrius Wright.
As you see, Vardaman up to punt, not even close to being blocked. It's sort of a high, short punt. And that was a dangerous return that time by Gillespie. I tell you what, I'm pretty sure you got your Coach Pope and Coach Russo and Coach Clark on the sides going to tell him, look, next time that happens, you get away from that football. Because, I mean, all he had to do that time was as soon as he gets the ball, as you see Coach Russo explaining to him there, if he would have got popped one time that football come loose, there was nobody going to stop those about 6 Rams that was around that football.
Yeah, that was very dangerous. He had a lot of nerve with all those Rams around him to try to return it like that.
Well, I guess Bruce has to prove they're not going back down from this Vardaman Rams team. I guess you could say, Bruce is sort of the underdog this year, even though both these teams haven't played in a while, as we have been at the quarterback. First play for the Trojans is to give up to number 4, Andy Brown. Pickup of maybe 1 on the play. I'll tell you what, one player I like to watch on this Vardaman Rams football defense is going to be John Harden. This kid, when he plays, he goes all out from play to play. And, you like that in the football player.
Yeah, he's got the speed and the quickness, and if you're not watching, he'll put one to you.
Absolutely. I remember watching that Smithville game where he took 3 guys out by himself. As you see, it's going to be second down and about 9 to go for the Bruce Trojans. Bruce right now, as we said, they're trying to find that resurfacing as they give up the middle right there to Brown. Brown carrying, I'll get it out here in a second. Carrying Trojans with him that time as his helmet come off. But I'll tell you what, Andy Brown back in the backfield. He had to play quarterback last year due to injuries, and that's going to be another big help right there.
Yeah, it's like you said, if someone gets hurt, he can step up and play that quarterback position.
So it's going to be third down and 3 to go for the Trojans. We'll see what they're going to do here. This sort of sticky situation right here with being 3 yards. You say, look, tuck under and run it, or possibly turn out and pass it. So we'll see what Coach Pope tries to do on this possession. You have 2 men in the backfield, 2 receivers. Give is up to the middle to Brown, sort of little delay, and I believe that is going to pick up the first down. Good call that time by the Trojans. Sort of run like a little cross puck, sort of fake the handoff and come right back to him. Good play that time to pick up the first down.
Yeah, it was a good call right there by Coach Polk to run that little counter or whatever you would call it, but good enough to pick up the first down.
Absolutely. As you see, Bruce has really cut this field short. They got the ball just on the other side of the 50-yard line, and they stopped Vardaman on their first possession, so they're doing a good job here. It's 1st and 10 to go for the Trojans. Have the officials timeout to fix the shirt over the shoulder pad. I've never seen them stop a ball game for that before, but maybe it's a new rule this year. But now we're ready to go here as it's 1st and 10 for the Trojans. Ball marked around the 41, 42-yard line. There's a fumble on the play, but he's able to pick it up, and he's in trouble trying to make something out of nothing there, and it no doing as number 45 for the Vardaman Rams, Jonathan Denley, that time coming in for the close. It looked like he might have slipped away that time. As he did, look like he slipped down. Maybe he's going to touch a knee, but he did a good job of keeping his feet about him and trying to make something out of nothing.
Yeah, as we were saying earlier, the weather takes a toll, and I believe the ball was just a little too wet for him then as they went to take the ball and snap.
Absolutely. The ball boys are going to be a lot of business tonight, having to run that ball in and out, keeping it dry and everything. As you said, that was a big loss that time. We'll call it second down and about 17 to go for the Trojans. Trojans come up to the line, showing 2 in the backfield. Once again, a little slip from between center and quarterback caused that little slight delay. It only picked up a yard. If that wouldn't have been there, yet again, we have an official's timeout. So the officials are burning a lot of time out now. Oh, they're calling a 6-minute break. So it's a heat timeout. We'll take it with them. You're watching W07BN TV7 Bruce, TV 34, Calhoun City. Oh, God. And we're back to action now here at Carter Field as Keelan just informed me Brown has 4 carries for 12 yards for the Trojans. Just third down and 15 to go, so we got a good piece of going here. As you see, there's a give up the middle, and that's sort of a questionable play right there. It's third down and 15. They decide to run it, and this Vardaman defense, they're showing a lot of resilience from last year. That time, able to get in the backfield as it's going to be 4th down and about 16 to go, so we should see Bruce punt. But looking at this, if Bruce gets off a good punt, they should have Vardaman backed up in terrible field position.
Yeah, on that play right there, I don't understand why Coach Pope didn't try to pass that ball and get a first down, but I can understand with the field being wet and he didn't want to risk a turnover.
Absolutely. They've had a couple of problems between getting the snap to the center, to the quarterback, so that might have been what he was thinking there that time, as we have 5:13 to go, and Bruce is going to be their first punt. Vardaman putting a lot of pressure on it, sort of a bad punt, as the Trojans are going to check that the Rams are going to let it roll, and we have a flag on the play.
Trojans down the ball. We got penalty flag on the play.
So as we sort this out between officials right there about the 45-yard line, as the rain is starting to fall once again here at Carter Field, illegal procedure is called against the Trojans, so that'll back them up. So I'm pretty sure the Rams will take that penalty and make them re-kick the football. You know, it wasn't that good of a kick that they got off that time, so that would be a wise thing to do. And we'll see what the Rams elect to do here. Do you look here at the Vardaman? You know, we're not switch sides, but this year Vardaman was on last year's away side, and this year the Trojans here are on the home side. So we've got a new concession stand. I forgot what I was looking for there for a second. We got a new concession stand, a new look here at Vardaman, so maybe they're just going for a whole total new look.
Yeah, I reckon they just want to kind of change things up and give it a new look.
Absolutely. As Vardaman's discussing everything, they've backed him up, so the kick will come from the 30, so this will be a little bit better field position. We'll see what, well, I guess Vardaman's going to let you take the ball from the 15. So Vardaman not going to let Bruce re-kick it. So yet again, another questionable call by the coach, but hey, that's the reason they're paid to be the coaches, and we're paid up here to call the ball game as we see it. So that's going to give the Rams the ball at the 15-yard line, 1st and 10, as the rain's getting a little bit harder here in Carter Field. So we had to break out the ponchos here pretty soon, as Ken's already broke out the umbrella. Josh and Kim's already broke out their ponchos. Dudley, me, and you sitting here getting soaked as there's a pitch out to Horton. Horton's got a big hole following his blocker. Mims doing a good job that time, picking up about 9 yards on the play. Good job that time, blocking and running that time. Isaiah Thomas, the 8th grader on the stop, as we talked about him earlier.
Gain of 9, 2nd down 1 for the Rams from their own 24-yard line.
And the Rams loading up here, 2nd down and 1 to go. There's a fumble on the play, but I do believe Vardaman picked it up to pick up the 1st down. Who was that? Yes, good headed up play that time by the fullback. Able to pick up and see the ball did hit the ground and pick it up for the 1st down.
Think of a fumble snap on the play. Rams recover, retain the ball, being a gain on 1st down. 1st and 10 Rams from their own 26-yard line.
Finally, I've gotten into the poncho. Me and the poncho having problems over here on top of the press box. 3:51 to go, still a scoreless ball game. Give to Horton. Horton that time stopped in the backfield by a whole host of Trojans. Give Justice the initial lick there for the Trojans. And I tell you what, Trojans showing a little bit of sign of that Trojan play from the past, that tenacious defense.
Yeah, they're not letting the Rams have any kind of offense here in the early going.
Absolutely. So what some people thought might be an ugly ball game, Bruce has come out to prove them a little bit wrong, saying, hey, you know, if you're going to play us, you're going to come out fighting this year. Second down, and we'll call it 16 to go for the Rams. There's a give to Horton. Horton's got some blocking. He's got the sidelines. Got one man to beat. What a piece of running that time by Horton. Horton was being twisted, turned, and everything. Picked up 17, 18 yards on the carry and picked up the 1st down. That's a good job that time by Stevens. The only man left to stop him before he got the touchdown I tell you what, Bruce bit on the fake. You know, it looked like they was going to run a little fake handoff, sweep around the end for a pass, and Bruce was looking past that time, but Vardaman burned him on the run.
Yeah, I was
He's still confused. That's what he was looking for. As it's going to be first down and 10 to go with 2:40 to go here in the first quarter. West checking off. Steps back under center. Out to pass. Got time. Finally tucks it under, decides to run, but nothing doing as Vardaman had no receiver open that time. Willie Malone, will give him credit for it. And along with Deaton on the Touton. And once again, the little man, Isaiah Thomas, scatting all over the field and on the tackle again. So it's going to be second down and 13 to go for the Rams. Still a light little sprinkle going. As long as it stays like this, it'll be all right. Don't get any heavier. But as soon as I say that, the floodgates will open. Second down and 13 to go for the Rams. Bruce doing a good job on defense so far tonight if they still have that four-man line. Fumble on the play. West picks it up, and there you go. The weather coming a factor. As Ware come in there that time and put the hit on him. So, Josh, what you talked about earlier, the weather being a factor tonight.
Yeah, it's starting to rain, and I believe it'll get a little bit worse. Being a former quarterback, I know how it is. Take a snap with a wet ball.
Absolutely, it's third down and 14 to go now for the Rams. So the Rams going the wrong way after picking up that first down. They're heading back towards the opposite way than they want to go. Right now, they have not seen their side or the other side of the 50-yard line. You know, that's unusual for the Vardaman Rams. So give a lot of credit for Bruce. They're doing a good job on defense tonight.
Yeah, maybe that call that the coach made to take the penalty or to decline the penalty may have been a bad call.
Absolutely, as West is out to pass. Airs it out along the sidelines. Got a man open once again. Cannot find the steps, so we have a flag on the play, and I believe it's going to be against the Trojans, and that is the roughing the passer is the call. So there was a huge break that time for the Vardaman Rams. If we go under just a minute to go here in the first quarter of action. Or not call that a break for the Trojans, call it for the Rams. Tough break for the Trojans. You know, that's one of those early game mental mistakes as you have. Players that time saw a quarterback wide open and come and just turned on the jets and saw him thinking sack and just hit him a little too late.
Yeah, he shouldn't have done that because that would have made it fourth down with that incomplete pass, and that just hurt him right there.
So Vardaman has now made it up to the 50-yard line. Best field position, or the furthest they've been down the field tonight. As you hear the Bruce band below us. There's the give to the first man through, number 34, Mims. He picked up maybe a yard on the play that time. So once again, Isaiah Thomas on the tackle.
Rams move over in the Trojan territory.
So now the Rams are in Trojan territory for the first time tonight, just past the 50-yard line. We'll call it the 50 and a half. They're just shy of the 49. Second down, and we'll call it 9 to go. West steps under quarterback. Give this to Horton. Horton has good blocking. He's got to break to the outside. He does. Greg Horton still on his feet. Good piece of running. Finally gets tripped up from behind. Looked like by his own player. But there is a flag on the play. I tell you what, Josh, did you see that time? He took two hard hits, but managed to stay on his feet.
Yeah, he is a great running back. Has great quickness and great toughness and power to run over as we just seen there.
Absolutely, as I believe that is Horton. A little shaken up on the play, but we do have a flag on the play. We'll see what the officials decide to call it here. Holding against the offense, so take and make something good into a negative. You know, you don't like to see that as a coach, but first game, you got to expect calls like that. You know, once again, going back to just first game jitters, you know, for these really actually some young linemen, as that's going to end the first quarter of action here from Carter Field. And you're watching TV7. Bruce, TV 34, Calumet City. We'll be back after this. And we're back to action here as it is the second quarter of action. Your score is 0-0. And we'll go to Ken with a quick update of the stats. Or we'll be back there in a minute. Ken said he's not quite ready as we do have a flag on the play. So we've had to break out the garbage bags and the ponchos as the rain, well, now we got all this out. It's starting to slack up a little bit. Offsides against the Trojans, so that'll help out that time. Put the ball back up around the 50-yard line for the Rams. So make it second down and 10 to go.
Second down and 10.
So, Josh, we have seen flashes of Vardaman's pass with the big plays, but every one of those been negated tonight by a penalty.
Yeah, that big long run they had a while ago, that was a penalty. Like that should have been offside, a false start right there.
And West did a good job that time making something out of nothing. I'm like you, it looked like we had an early jump that time, but it looked like he might have just had it just turned off, timed out perfect with the snap. So I'll tell you what, if he would have moved or blinked half a second earlier, he would have been offsides that time or a false start, but the officials didn't call it. Third down, and we'll call it a long 7 to go. Scoreboard says it's an 8, but we'll call it a 7. West steps under. Back to pass. Rolls out. Throws it again to nowhere near a receiver. And West had a lot of pressure that time by Thornton. But we do have a flag on the play. We'll see holding against the Rams. So back them up one more time. West is 0 for 4 passing tonight. So West having a tough go at it, airing the ball out. Of course, you know, talking about him being 0 for 4, once again, talking about the timing between receiver and quarterback, not quite going to be on. You know, you could say, you know, we've practiced it in practice, you know, and everything. But when it comes to game time, it's a totally different situation than practice.
Yeah, game is a lot more hype to it and trying to work out all the bugs, and it's just a lot more different.
As it is, fourth down, so Vardaman looks like they're going to elect to punt around the 49-yard line, so Bruce might be backed up depending on the punt. Now, they didn't get off too good of a punt last time. Neither team did, but that could be due to the wetness of the field. That is Matt Long back to punt for the Vardaman Rams, and we have Wright and Gillespie back to receive. And there's a better kick that time, high aspiring kick taken by Wright. There's a big block that time by Gillespie and nowhere going. He might have picked up maybe 3 or 4 yards, but there's some hitting down on the field as Brandon Shankles come in to make the tackle. So Bruce will get the ball around the, we'll call it 19-yard line. Well, we'll make it to 18. The 18-yard line, first and 10 to go. So, Josh, right now, all it is both teams just trying to get in sync and make something happen. So right now, all we're looking for, or both teams are looking for, is just that one big break. Maybe that one step by the receiver, getting out and breaking it open, or maybe just that one quick block for either team. So, as we said, both teams right now are sort of struggling offensively.
Yeah, if they could, like you said, get that one big break, then that might break up the whole game.
Absolutely. Give it to the first man through. Try to get a little quick hit in there. Nothing doing that time, as I believe it was, we'll check, I think number 20. That is the case. Number 20, Justice, the ball carrier, picked up maybe 1 yard. We'll give him credit for 1 yard, that is. As it is 0-0 is your score. Second down and 9 to go with just under 10.5 to go here until halftime. I'd like to remind everyone, we're having this new segment now at TV7 called the Call-In Show. We invite all coaches in the listening or watching area to call in to the TV station to give us updates of your ball game and how it turned out. As there's a little pitch out to the first back man, and that time nothing doing, as number 25 for the Rams.
Andy Brown, your ball carrier, stopped by Caleb Tedder.
Caleb Tedder on the tackle. So Brown, having nothing doing that time, picked up, or well, checked out, lost about 4 yards on the play. So we'll call it third down and about 14 to go for the Trojans. Good job by defense that time. Tedder just sniped through there. It hit the guy before he even had a chance to know what's going on.
Yeah, he really had no chance there because there wasn't many blockers out there for him. And like I said, Tedder was there waiting for him.
Vardaman's showing a 4-man, maybe 5-man front as there's a fumble on the snap, and just that time right there, taking it, picked up the ball and just ran it up the middle. So that's the break we was talking about, as it's going to be Armstrong. It looked like pick up the ball and really, or it's calling it Bean. Yeah, Chris Bean that time, quarterback, just picking it up and being a good head of awareness, able to tuck the ball under and run, pick up about 13 yards, to be 4th down and 1 to go. Decision-making time right here, 9:05 to go before halftime. You're tied 0-0. It's a lot better than people thought you would be. So it looks like they're going to elect to punt.
Well, it's so early in the game that with the weather and all, I think this is a good decision.
Well, if you go to the playbook of Coach Gore would go for it in this situation right here, because this right here could be a big momentum breaker or the back breaker, as there's a bad punt that time. Very dangerous, as one of the Vardaman players wasn't even paying attention. Number 60 that time for Vardaman, Penick. He was lucky that ball didn't bounce off his foot, and that would have been a live ball for the Trojans to pick up. So when you see a punt like that, you got to let your players know, get out of the way, get heads up, watch for the football. Because I remember Bruce, whenever they played Boonville, they had a ball bounce off a guy's face mask. Boonville picked it up, and got the ball back, and really just killed Bruce's chance of coming back in that ball game.
Yeah, that was a real momentum breaker, and like that right there, you got to watch out, and you got to let your other teammates know where the ball is.
Absolutely, but once again, that's just some of the early game know-hows or not knowing what to do yet in that situation, as it is going to be the best field position tonight for Vardaman. Give to the first man through. Mims, nothing doing. Big hit that time by number 34, Isaiah Thomas, and number 53, Willie Malone. I'd like to remind everyone, next week we'll be at Bruce as Calumet City comes visiting. This is the first time, as we said, in 10 years that the Trojans has crossed the schooner not to play Calumet City, just come on down the road a little bit to Tatertown to take on the boys of Vardaman. So as we said right now, it's a good ball game going with 8 minutes to go here until halftime. Your score is 0-0, and this is the first time Vardaman has actually been this deep in Trojan territory, around the 39-yard line. So we can see if Vardaman can get down in here and get anything done. West going to roll out, looking for someone to pass to. He has no one to pass to. There's a big hit. Ball comes loose. Heads up play that time by number 60 for Vardaman, Penick. West looked like he was looking for someone downfield. He had guys look like on the backside, but it's really hard to stop and plant and throw across field. But West that time looked like he's made the decision too early to run. And there's a big pop that time by Bruce. It's third down and 13 to go. We also like to invite the fans to call into the call-in show just to give comments, as West has been sacked 3 times is the note I just received from Ken. As we have 4 receivers as West rolls out to pass out to Horton. Horton sort of hung up. That pass was too high. That's a dangerous pass right there, especially if you're Horton, because right there, you're just sort of up in dead man's land up in the air. There's nothing you can do moving-wise. And the Trojan guy that time just did the wise thing, Andy Brown that is, taking and checking up, waiting for him to land and make sure he caught the ball.
Yeah, when you can't leave a receiver wide open like that and open. I know I left Dudley like that a couple times last year, but when you're out there like that, you got to kind of zoom it in real quick so they can get a couple yards.
And I believe Vardaman is going to elect to punt. Be a long field goal early to go here this part of the season, as they do have number 7, Matt Long, back in punt position, as Wright is the long returner this time. There's a high kick, good high kick that time, not to make it go into the end zone, as Vardaman quickly down on the field, Pierce to cover the ball up. So it's going to be around the 13-yard line for the Trojans.
First and 10 on their own 14, 6-minute heat break.
And we're going to take the 6-minute heat break. We'll take it with them. You're watching TV7 Sports here with Adam, Josh, Dudley, and Ken, and we'll be back after this. And we're back here from Carter Field, and total offense for both teams. Bruce, 15 yards. Vardaman 39. And I tell you what, Josh, that's an astounding stat from last year. Yeah, I was just talking to Ken. We saw last year where Odie had 5 carries for 210 yards. So this is just total about face here for the Vardaman.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot different from what they had last year, and they probably don't know how to react to this.
And Bean breaking it loose, slipping some tackles, and he breaks out and picks up the first down. So it's going to be back. Bean that time, so sort of like a busted play, and he done a good job again. Caleb Cheddar that time on the tackle. He's the second time tonight he's taken it when the play got busted, just turning it into something positive.
Yeah, that was a good job, and that's also what you have to do as a quarterback: be aware when there's nothing there, and then just have to take it upon yourself to run the ball.
Well, this is what's stepping out Bruce a lot last year. As you said, having Andy Brown in the backfield once again, and now Bean, as you said, already showing an impressive job by running the. And this is Adam Gore with W07BN with our first edition of the call-in show live, and we're talking now with Coach Bray. Coach Bray, congratulations on the win tonight. Why don't you just take us through quarter by quarter? The first half right there was real slow, and finally towards the end of the second half, you finally got, or end of the second quarter, you really got your guys into the ball game.
It pretty much almost felt like it was. It was more of a field position type game. We was backed up. Didn't really want to take any chances at that time, and once we finally got in a better field position, of course, we tried to open up and do a few other things. Of course, as a result, got 2 quick scores out of it.
Absolutely. Now, we saw a lot of vintage Vardaman. Whenever you do get the turnover, you make your team pay or make the opposing team play, and that's what it really come down to there in the second half. You just controlled the ball. It really just kept it away from Bruce that whole second half.
We did. It was awful hard to throw tonight with the conditions. Receivers had trouble running routes, and of course the ball couldn't keep it dry. We tried to control the football and run the clock. Of course, with both our running backs stepped up and had big games for us.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about Greg Hort. He's got big shoes to fill after Odie. I know, a lot of people say, is there life after Odie? And that's one thing you really don't want your guys thinking about, just out to prove everybody wrong, hey, we could play without Odie. You just want your guys to focus on coming out and playing this season.
But, of course, Odie had a great year for us last year, but we were more than just Odie, which he was a big difference maker, of course. And the kids realized that, and Odie has been the first one to tell them that, it takes a team to win, not just one individual.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things we really talked about is during the game is going to be the simple fact that you don't have an experienced line as you did last year. This year, I'll say you got better speed and more ability to attack with your speed this year, but that line's really going to be your difference on down the road.
It is. Even though they got to play a lot last year because of the leads we had, they didn't really get to play in a pressure-type situation. And, of course, we were pretty much happy with them tonight, the way they stepped up.
Absolutely. Now, just this feel on this Bruce team this year, they're not like the team they've played in the past. They're really looking for that dominate force to resurface. They've showed signs of that, so they're going looking at their division. They had Ackerman and Water Valley move in. They're going to be a team to deal with. They're going to be that, I guess you'd call it, dark horse team that can come in and really upset some people.
Right. As young as they are, they're going to get better and better each week. There's no doubt about that. Of course, their future's still ahead of them. Everybody realizes that, but they're going to get better, and I think they're going to be right in the mix of things.
Absolutely. Now, Coach Bray, next week you got Mooreville. It was called one of the games you've got to see in the Daily Journal. How are you going to get you guys ready for that?
Well, the kids realize, of course, we won pretty easy last year, but they realize that Moore's got a pretty good football team. Probably going to have the best group of linemen that we'll see all year. And of course, they all realize that, and we'll hopefully get ready for them.
All righty, Coach. We appreciate you calling in for us, and maybe we can do this more often this year. But we appreciate it. Congratulations on the win tonight, Coach, and good luck next week.
Appreciate it.
All right, this is Adam Gore, and we'll take you back to the action on the field. Should we call it first down and 10 to go? First gets the ball, give to the second man through. Nothing doing that time, sort of hesitated. It was met at the line. Number 4 is Andy Brown, the ball carrier. Jonathan Denley on the tackle for the Vardaman Rams. You know, Josh, whenever you run the football, if you see the hole, you can't hesitate, especially in high school football, because that hole will close up quicker than anything. Once you see the hole, you've got to go, and you've got to go hard.
Yeah, you got to run it like you're scared to death. You have to hit that hole just as hard as you can. And like you said, at high school football, it'll close up just as quick as you think it will.
Absolutely, especially when the ground's wet like this. You can't just sit around and dance, because before you know it, your feet are not going to be under you anymore. As it's going to be 2nd down and 10 to go. No gain on the play. There's the ball loose, and once again, Beans has to make something out of it. There's a reverse by the Trojans. Big play right here as Mills takes and runs him down. Breaks a tackle, and it's finally knocked out of bounds as number 4, Pierce, comes up and saves the touchdown that time. Bruce totally caught him off guard that time, and really the thing that really threw off the Vardaman Rams that time was the fact that they looked up and sort of had a misconnection between center and quarterback, and that made everybody collapse thinking it was a busted play, and here comes the Trojans around on the other end. That's what we're talking about, taking chances and making something happen.
Yeah, after that busted play, after the quarterback almost, well, he did sort of fumble the ball, and after that, I thought, you know, it'd be a dead play right there, but they got the play to work.
So here come the Trojans marching the ball down the field with 4:50 to go here until halftime. Bean steps back under as quarterback. Then once again, there's a fumble snap, and that ball is loose, and it's picked up by Vardaman. That's number 25, Caleb Tedder. I'll tell you what, Caleb Tedder's been all over the field tonight getting tackles, and that time picking up the loose ball as he give the ball back to the Rams. So I'll tell you what, we're talking about the big play, and then there's a letdown. Just like for the Rams a while ago, had that big run, hold penalty, called it back. Just right there, big reverse, fumbled the ball, Rams got it back.
Yeah, that was, like I said earlier, the weather is just taking its toll, and you got to watch those snaps, and then all of a sudden there Caleb Tedder was to pick up the fumble.
Well, Bruce's defense has done the job tonight. Give them credit. They've held Vardaman to what was 39 yards for their last possession. So Bruce's defense is really stepping up and showing signs of resurfacing from what was the past. As we said, it's still a young team, you know, first game of the season. They're going to take and work out the kinks, and they'll be able to a lot better. As you see, there's a give to Horton. Horton takes and runs the football that time. Did a wise thing. Didn't try to cut on the outside. Just turned it upfield and went. Maurice Thornton that time on the tackle.
Maurice Thornton.
Well, I'll tell you what, Josh, as soon as we get the ponchos on, it stops raining. Now it's burning up hot, but I'm afraid to take this thing off as much as I had to fight with it just to get it on. But, you know, I'm sort of glad the rain did hold off. As you said, you like to see a nice, sloppy ball game every once in a while. The way it was looking earlier today, it looked like we was going to be in for a flood. You know, pairing up again, Noah. I was surprised Carter Field wasn't underwater.
Yeah, this field is known to hold a bunch of water, and it's just sort of stopped about 2 hours before the game started.
That's going to be a face mask called against Bruce as an intentional face pass, as Horton did a good job that time, just pitch outside and run. You know, Horton with a dry field, as you know, it's soaking wet right now, but as a dry field with Horton and that little pitch out outside that, it's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, that's going to be very dangerous, as you said, and it'll be very hard to stop him with the quickness he has.
Absolutely, and this year, Vardaman once again favored to go after the Region 2 1A title, along with Callan City. You know, Callan City playing one on tonight, favored in that ball game. Callan City has 15 returning starters, so you have to look at Callan City being a factor this year in their region.
Yeah, they have a bunch of young folks on their team, and like you said, they have a pretty good chance of doing something this year.
From the Trojan 27.
Of course, as we said, you always got to factor in Vardaman. Vardaman's always going to be there. They just have good athletes that just complement each other. Bruce this year, it's going to be tough for Bruce this year. They have Ackerman and Water Valley moving into their district, and those are two powerhouse teams. I see there's a little cross action there to Mims. Mims taking power over people. Mims dragging people. I'll tell you what, Mims wouldn't go down that time as he just got the ball and pulling people. That's Melvin Pierce and Andy Brown on the tackle that time. Looked like he was stopped around the 20. He just kept going, kept them feet turning. You know, that's what the coach tells you. Don't stop your feet till you hit the ground. And right there, it pays off.
Yeah, I thought he was down. I just turned my head and looked away, and then all of a sudden I turned back, and he was still running.
Well, that's right there is really what makes a deciding factor for Vardaman, the fact that they have a powerful fullback. Every year that I've been working here for about 5 years now, they've always had a good fullback. And matter of fact, it's always been a Mills at the fullback position. There's Horton out there. He's cutting it to the outside, talking about that dangerous speed. He's just got to pick up a block. He's going into the end zone. Touchdown, Vardaman. You know, Josh, that's what we talked about, the little pitch out. He hesitated. He saw what he had. He took in 13 yards. He turned on the afterburners, cut it into the inside, and made the touchdown.
Yeah, that was a great block on the outside by Barry to hold off his man so he could get into the end zone.
And this year we have number 26 that looks to do the kicking duties, Jose Guerrero. Sung us good. I'll tell you, last year this kid, as soon as I started talking about him, he went maybe 4 or 5 ball games not missing an extra point or a field goal. And I don't want to jinx him this early in the season, but this kid, he's got a good foot on him. And I'll tell you what, Bruce showed a lot of speed that time. Almost had it blocked. A lot of contact. They're looking for a penalty. As the holder got hit, he's asking the official about it. And the official didn't call it, so that's all that matters. We have 3:14 to go here until the second half is over. And we'll be back after this. And we're back to action here at Carter Field as Vardaman just put the first points on the board. That's going to be Tony Shaw to kick things off here for the Vardaman Rams. 3:14 to go here until the half. We got number 5, Gillespie, back as a long returner along with Wright, and it appears to be Brown back. So they got the speed in the backfield to return the football, and that's going to be dangerous, Those 3 guys right there, they have great speed for Bruce. All they got, as we saw just for Vardaman, you just got to pick up 1 block. Those guys are the same type of athletes. You pick up 1 block, those guys could be gone.
Yeah, you have those type of athletes back there returning. You just pick up a block here and a block there, and it can be very dangerous.
So Vardaman breaks out as Tony Shaw is still set to kick. Now, we did see where Vardaman last year would take and sneak one guy up and kick with him instead. And there's a good kick that time by Shaw. It's going to be picked up by Gillespie. Gillespie slips down. So that play's dead. This isn't the NFL. So Gillespie slips. Once again, we saw a slip on the kickoff. This is what killed him. Leading rusher is going to be Horton. He has 9 carries for 62 yards. Penalty-wise, Vardaman has 2 for 10 yards. Bruce has 4 for 30. That drive summary took 4 minutes and 41 seconds, or scored at the 4 minutes 21 seconds at the Bruce 47. 4 plays, 47 yards. It took him a minute 27 to put 7 points on the board. Horton, 28 yards rushing on the drive. So now Bruce is going to look to answer with 3 minutes and 9 seconds to go here until halftime. Bruce wants to put points on the board, but you also have to thank Bruce. I do believe it's the ball back for the second half.
Yes.
So that would be huge for Bruce right now to be able to drive the ball down the field. As you see Andy Brown picking up blockers, breaking tackles as he goes for the first down or maybe close to it. That's going to be Barry on the tackle. I'll tell you what, as we're talking about, momentum-wise right now is in the Vardaman's favor just for the simple fact they're forward. They picked up the first down. Bruce takes him able to go down and get points out of this drive before halftime. Gets the ball back at the second half. That'll be huge for the Trojans, especially this young team.
Yeah, if they can just get something going and, like you said, get the ball back at the second half, that'll be in their favor.
So the Trojans first and 10 from around the 30-yard line. We'll call it to 29. Get to the second man through Brown. Stacked up at the line. Ball pops loose. The Vardaman Rams did not know it. And finally the officials call it down. They're going to say it's down by contact, which was the right call. That's going to be Denley on the tackle.
Denley and Mills.
That's the right call by the official that time. Ground cannot cause a fumble. That's what the simple fact was. He hit the ground, ball popped out. Good call. Officials right on top of it, but did not call it whenever it's supposed to. Vardaman thought the play was dead. Bruce thought it was alive. If they would have left that one thing going, it could have been big that time for Bruce just to pick it up because Vardaman had no clue what was going on.
Yeah, just like on that kickoff, the official wasn't able to make the call in time whenever he slipped down.
So that's a loss of 5. We'll call it second down and 15 to go for the Trojans. Bean steps back under as your quarterback. Checks his line. Vardaman showing a whole lot of guys on the line of scrimmage saying we're coming in after you. Backs out of it. Roll out to pass is Bean. Bean pass over the middle, number 20. Once again, just that one step as it was intended for justice. But once again, we're talking about that one step. That will come on later through the season.
Yeah, they just got to work all the bugs and the kinks out and just get used to how each other is going to play.
So we got just a minute over a half to go here until halftime. Let's remind everybody, we'll bring you the halftime action, as I do believe the Bruce Band, if they do perform. 7-0 is your score. As you hear the Bruce Trojans warming up behind us. As being, I believe that's going to be a delay of game call, taking too much time to get the playoff. And once again, that's just first game jitters, just one of the kinks you can't work out. Everybody's going to have one of those called. But right at this point in time, that's a huge letdown for Bruce Trojans. They had third down about 15, back them up about 5 more yards. That's going to make it third down in early 20.
Yeah, that's, I think, their 4th or 5th penalty for about 35, 40 yards tonight already.
From their own 20.
So the Trojans backed up from their own 20-yard line. Third down and a long way to go is what we'll call it. We'll call it a long 19, short 20 to go. So we'll see what the Trojans are able to come up with here offensively. Bean rolls out to pass, under a lot of pressure, and brought down in the backfield by Mims, number 34.
This Bean brought out of the backfield by number 34.
And as we said, that was a huge penalty right there with that delay of game. Mims able to get back there and get the sack. So now the Trojans really in the shadow of the goal post, as they're going to be right around the goal line to punt, if not into their own end zone.
Yes, I wouldn't try to do nothing fancy here. I'd just try to get off a good, safe punt here.
And Vardaman, they're going to be bringing everybody and anything after it. Try to block this. Nearly blocked that time. Kicked down to Harden. Harden looking for something to go. Running sideways, try to cut up the field, looking for some blocks, not getting any. That's going to be Gillespie that time on the tackle. But I'll tell you what, that's one thing you don't want to do as a returner. You don't like to look up and see the fact that there's more white shirts in this case than blue shirts in front of you. That time Vardaman, what should have done, even though it's wet, just show he's going that way, bring it back this way, because he had a wide open field with a lot more blue shirts coming towards us.
Yeah, you like you said, you want to go toward the sideline that your blockers are on, and he didn't do that time, but still he got a couple yards out of it.
Of course, it's also a lot easier considering we're way above ground level up here to see what he can't see, and he's in the action, so we'll give him credit there, even though he's not up here with us. As we have Horton, the long running back, 3 receivers. Vardaman trying to put more points on the board here, really just put that dagger in the heart of the Trojans. Give this to Horton. Horton, Trayson runs it up the middle. We'll give him credit for about 3 yards on the game. Be second down and 7 to go with the clock running, and finally Vardaman calls a quick timeout. We'll say Isaiah Thomas on the tackle as the Rams call a timeout. We'll take it with them. We'll be back after this. Vardaman Rams looking to take and just put that last points on the board, put the dagger in the heart of the Trojans going into halftime. 7-0 is your score. Vardaman with Horton on a 13-yard scamper into the end zone. Of course, we're trying to get you some updates from other scores at Calhoun City and Calhoun Academy. Calhoun Academy this season opening up at home against Kemper with the new head coach, Bill Fleming. So he's looking for a lot of good things out of Calhoun. There's a pass up the middle to Mims. Mims right there, nobody around him. He's going to go in untouched. And right there's what we're talking about. This is signs of last year's team right here, Vardaman. If you give them inside the 30-yard line, they're going to gamble. And that's what really paid off for them last year and paid off in them this chance right here. They just took and ran Mims straight up the field using his good speed that time just to get the ball up the field and get in the end zone. So 13-0 is your score with 35 seconds to go here until halftime.
Yeah, that was a great call right there. It just looked like just a straight up the middle pass, and he was wide open.
Guerrero in for the
So we got Guerrero in for the extra point. I'll tell you what, Guerrero taking a little bit too much time on that kick in that time. Bruce would have dove after that one. It would have been blocked. But either way, it did go up the uprights. Guerrero 2 for 2 so far on point after attempts. So once again, we got 35 seconds to go here, and we'll take a break. 14-0 is your score from Carter Field. And we're back to action here from Carter Field as Guerrero's going to line up to kick this time. Last time we saw Shaw kick, but Guerrero's going to take the kicking duties. As we have 35 seconds to go here until halftime, your score is 14-0, Vardaman's favor. There's a kick by Guerrero. It's a short kick, and it's almost out of bounds, but John Harden that time. Tell you what, John Harden had the right idea. That's a good play to have right there, especially with somebody like John Harden. Because John Harden's not going to be afraid to take a stretch out and just put it on the line. If he would have got that ball that time, Vardaman football.
Yes, that was a very risky call right there, but of course they got the penalty. But like you said, John Harden, he's willing to stretch out and try to get the ball.
I almost want to say, not a called play that time by Vardaman, just sort of a lucky mistake, I guess you can call it. As John Harden just did a good job of having that heads-up awareness, try to stretch out and get that ball, as Bruce was just attempt to just sit there and let it roll out of bounds. But you never do know when that ball is going to take one hop back in the end zone.
Major penalty against the Rams.
So far tonight, Bruce's deepest penetration has been the Vardaman's 45-yard line. So right now, Bruce is not looking too good offensively. But as we said, eventually they'll get it worked out. They have shown signs of big plays, but they've had them negated by penalties. So first down and 10 to go here with 33 seconds to go until halftime. Back to pass. He's going to air this one out. He's got it high in the air, but he threw it to a guy on the sidelines. Demetrius Wright was the intended receiver, but he threw it over the fence. Caught by Vardaman Ram. A fan that time. Not a souvenir. Got to give it back. So once again, 25 seconds to go here. Bruce just trying to air it out and get anything, maybe a lucky break, a lucky tip to try to bust open and get a play here. But you also got to be careful with 25 seconds. That's a lot of time left on the clock, especially with this Vardaman Rams offense.
Yeah, they can just try to make something big happen here.
So Bruce, once again, under center. See if they're going to try to air it out one more time. No, they're going to try to run it this time. Good play that time by Bruce. John Harden there to take and break the big play, but they pick up the first down. First down will stop the clock. 17.3 seconds to go.
Brown on the carry.
And Bruce is wanting a timeout. Andy Brown that time. Good call that time by Bruce. You saw Vardaman had the full blitz on everybody, and the kitchen sink was coming that time to get after the quarterback. The quarterback showed pass, dropped it down for a quick little shot up the gut that time, pick up about 15 yards. Have a timeout, Trojans. We'll keep it here. Josh, let's look over the first half of action here. It's sort of slow taking off, but Vardaman, as usual, gets some big breaks as they did last year and able to complete on them. And so that's what we said. The teams were looking for just one big break to pick up some momentum, and that's what it took.
Yeah, they wasn't able to come out and, just start fire and score right off the bat like they would be able to last year with Odie. But, they had to work with each other, and then they were able to put a few points on the board.
Absolutely, and this Bruce Trojans looking for that, I guess you say that oil to make that wheel run right for the offense. They're still just looking for that little clink or that click in the offense to get it going just right. They've shown signs of that play in the pass resurfacing. This is a young team, and you get enthusiasm, as the paper said. That's what they're going to play big on. If you get some momentum on this team's side right here, they're going to be a team to get hyped up, and they're going to be a team to be hard to stop.
Yeah, if they get the momentum and the hype, as you said, they'll be very dangerous and be able to go a long way.
So we both know this right here is not it's an important game, county rivalry. Neither one of these teams are in each other's district. But, you just want bragging rights to take home. But with 17.3 seconds left here, Vardaman 14-0 lead. This is not any kind of lead that they can go in with thinking, yeah, we got this one.
Yeah, this is the last thing you'll be thinking with this lead.
There's a screen pass. It was broken up, covered that time by Vardaman. I'll tell you what, Coach Bray has probably one of the best coach screen protection, I guess you can call it, defense. I've seen John Harden on the tackle that time. But when it comes to the option and the screen pass, the Vardaman Rams are able to shut that down pretty quick.
Yeah, they're able to key in on where the ball is. Seems like they sort of have a sense of where the ball is going to go, and they're able to key in on it.
Absolutely, and that's what's going to be important. That secondary this year, able to read the quarterback and be in the quarterback's head and know what he's doing actually before he actually does it. So we have we'll call it 3 seconds, 2.9 seconds to go here on the clock. The ball is on the 42-yard line, second down, 11 to go. So you got one more play just to air this out for the end zone. So we'll see Bruce throw it straight up, see if they can't get something in the middle to go. As the rain's coming down here at halftime at Carter Field. Your score is 14-0 with 2.9 seconds left.
Barring a penalty, this should be the last play of the half.
So Bean steps under center. Got two receivers. Fumble snap. That's going to blow it right there as the horn blows and Bean goes down. So that's not a way you want to go into halftime. Once again, the weather becoming a factor. That time, Tedder, once again, in the backfield, breaking things up. Kyler Tedder's been all over the field this year, or this game, defensively.
Yeah, he's been able to recover a fumble, and he was able to stop the recovered ball right there.
And that is your score at the half, 14-0. We'll take a break, and we'll be back after this.
Thank you, Bruce Trojan High School Marching Band. Ball off sides against the Rams. 5-yard penalty. Bring up
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Is that me? I can't hear you too well. Hold on. Your earphones. Can you hear me? We're back. Hopefully we're on the air. We don't know for sure. We didn't have the headsets available for the first half of action, but if not, we're back for here for the second half of action at Carter Field. Your score is now 14-0 after a timeout and a penalty called against Bruce. Looks like the Rams did pick up the first down after they finally did get the play off. Looks like Willis was a ball carrier that time. All right, ball's on the 45-yard line, and the rain continues here at Carter Field. And I'll tell you what, this is a great way to start off the football season. I guess you call what we got going on up here organized chaos, as Bean steps under your center. There's the give to the second man through. Give up the middle, nothing doing that time. Pick up maybe 2, 3. You'll give him credit for 3 yards.
gain of 3 yards on the play. He was stopped by Finley. Lois Penny.
We'll call it Douglas on the tackle that time for the Vardaman Rams. I'd like to apologize, everybody. We're having a little thing together, up and around and working up here. Weather being a factor. As you see, the ball carrier that time was Brown, working to the outside. Mims was on the tackle.
Gain of 3 on the play. Bring up 3rd down and 4 for the Trojans.
3rd down, 4 to go for the Trojans.
Around 49-yard line.
Bruce has been a little bit taking a long time here in the huddle, Josh. That's one thing we saw a penalty called on earlier. I'm not for sure. As you see a big sack that time, hit by number 3, Tony Shaw. Shaw got in there that time. Good job that time as we're trying to figure out what's going on up here technically. Shaw was on the sack that time. So right there is a big loss, 4th down, and we'll call it 14 to go for the Trojans. So they're going to be back to punt, back to receive. It's going to be Harden and along with Horton. So you got speed and power. I guess you call the duo of them back there. So Ferguson back to punt for the Trojans. Low snap this time. Here comes the Rams. Big block that time. Mills took a shot as the Rams are just going to let the ball roll at around the 20. We'll call it 20.5, 19-yard line. As Mims that time brought in, bringing the heat, trying to block it that time, but was unable to do it as there was a good block put on by Brown. 14-0 is your score. With just under 9 minutes to go here from Carter Field. Rainy night here at Carter Field as the Bugs still managed to make it out. They moved the lights behind us this year, so the Bugs will be more a factor getting into us, but at least the poles aren't in the way. As you see, the Trojans are on defense, and here comes the Rams setting up offense with a 14-0 lead. West is still your quarterback. Knock his legs out from under him because, you know, it looks like this kid right here could just take a squat a messload of weight as he just took that time 3 players and powered his way forward to pick up an extra yard that time. Jason Mills, good piece of running. We'll give him credit for about 5, maybe 6 yards. We'll call it a short 6 yards. Second down and a long 4 to go. So the Rams right now just trying to eat up some clock, taking slowly, make this ball game get over with. Don't want to take and kill the clock any. As you see, there is a give to Horton once again, following Mills. Mills put on a good block that time. Horton breaking loose. He's got a man to beat. He's breaking it long. Mims finally pushed Carmetrius White. So that's what we were talking about earlier. You know, Vardaman just always one step away from breaking a big play that time. And this time, the only factor is, unlike the first half, there's no flag on the play, so big play that time for Vardaman.
Run. Horton.
63-yard run that time by Horton to get the Rams in scoring position once again. We'll see what the Rams do here. And once again, I have to apologize. We're having technical difficulty up top due to the weather and trying to get this stuff organized. Maybe we better organize for the next ball game, as Mims was able to carry it in for the touchdown that time.
Jose Guerrero to attempt the point after.
Guerrero attempts the point after. The kick is up and good, but there is a penalty flag on the play. So your score as of right now stands 20-0 with 7:59 here to go.
All sides against the Trojans.
All sides against the Trojans. The kick was good, but I don't know if they had to re-kick it. Either way it goes, or if they get closer, they might end up going for 2. We'll see the officials discussing it right now with the Rams, and if the play does stand, he accepted to be 21-0. So the Rams come out score early here in the second half of action. All sides against the Trojans was the call, and the Rams are just going to take and re-kick it. Guerrero made the first attempt, but it was no good, negated by the penalty. Second kick's on the way, and he booted that one. The kick was still good, and Guerrero got knocked to the ground, but no call. 3 plays, 81 yards. Time of possession took a minute. Horton rushed a total of 11 carries, or he's rushed for the total of 11 carries and 127 yards, so that started to look more like Vardaman Ram football. And with that, we'll take you to a break. 21-0 is your score. We'll be back after this.
Now to kick off, Michael Gillespie deep for the Trojans.
At Carter Field. Where it will be Bruce's ball. After the touchdown scored by Mims, Bruce takes over after the kickoff. Not a very long kickoff return at that time by Bruce. Officials checking things out, and we're ready to go here as he starts the clock back up to play. Bruce walks to the line of scrimmage. Brown dot side in the backfield. Bean is still your quarterback. Give it to the second man through. He breaks it long. He's taking it long, and there is a tackle. Oh, tripped up there by number 6 for the Rams. That's a shoelace saving tackle that time for Vardaman. So Bruce showing signs of trying to bust things open here. Good piece of running that time by Brown. So Bruce picks up the first down on that play, comes up to the line of scrimmage once again. Vardaman showing 4 men on the line of scrimmage. Brown once again in the backfield, along with Gillespie being is your quarterback. The Rains continue here at Vardaman as Brown follows his blocker that time, not gaining much. We'll give him credit for about 2 or 3 yards. So we'll call it second down and a long 9 to go for the Bruce Trojans. Bean once again steps under center with Brown in the backfield. Vardaman have a little confusion on the defensive end. Finally gets things straightened out as Bruce calls out to play. Looks like back to pass, but there is a give to Brown up the middle. Brown breaking 1, 2, 3 tackles. Almost tripped up there by Edmondson. Is able to fall forward for an additional gain of 3 more yards after that. And barring no penalty, I see no penalty flags. First down, Bruce. So Bruce doing a good job tonight on those draw plays, able to draw off Vardaman, making them think it's a pass because Vardaman's coming in each time, flying in, trying to get the sack. But Bruce does a good job of stugging it down to give it to Brown, and Brown turns on his speed. It'll pick up a first down just about every time they run a play like that. So you got to look out for that Bruce in the future. Bruce has got a lot of speed in behind the quarterbacks. There's a loose ball fumbled on the ground, picked up by Gillespie that time. So a good heads-up play that time by Gillespie. I believe Bruce is calling for a timeout. We'll take it with him. We'll be back after this. And we're experiencing technical difficulties right now as we're having a little mic problem here at the ball game. A quick pass out to Andy Brown picks up what looks to be short of a first down for the Trojans as the Vardaman defense trying to hold as the Trojans are marching down the field, picking away at this Vardaman Rams defense one play at a time. As you see, they're sitting on about the 42-yard line. Here comes the Trojans to the line of scrimmage. 2 men in the backfield. Brown dotting the I. Bean still your quarterback. 2 receivers near us. And we got a whole lot of movement going on down there around the field. And we'll let the referee sort this out and see what they come up with the call. And now the way the official turned around, it appears that it's going to be against Vardaman, all sides against Vardaman. So there's the break the Trojans have been looking for. And, that's right there something they could use to build on. One of those momentum swingers as Bruce was looking for some sort of a break that time. And the Vardaman Rams give it to him by jumping off sides. Once again, there's that draw play, but that time Bruce had it snuffed, or Vardaman rather had it snuffed out pretty well as number 12 was in the backfield, stopping Brown for a loss. The Rains continue here in Vardaman, and so does the technical difficulties with our microphone, as this is Adam Gore coming to you from TV 7 instead of actual from the field, as hopefully we'll be able to get back the microphone on the air. Bruce back to pass, rolls out, has a receiver wide open, but the ball just too wet for him to hold on to. As that time, John Harden applying the lick thereafter, and that's what John Harden's known best for that time. You know, if you're going to go up and catch a pass around him, he's going to make you pay. So that time, just the ball being too wet and sort of thrown too hard. But that's a good route run that time by Bruce, able to catch, find that spot in the zone defense for the Rams that time, just not able to hold on to the ball. So Bruce turns it over on downs, gives the ball back to the Vardaman Rams. Second down, and we'll call it a long 6, or a long 5 rather, to go for the Rams. West still in as your quarterback. Horton in the backfield. Looks like along with Edmondson. Give it to the second man through. Horton fighting his way forward. Looks like he might have had enough to pick up the first down that time, depending on the spot. Looks like he got up to around the 40-yard line. We'll call it or back to the 50-yard line. We'll call it around the 49-yard line. Is probably where they're going to spot the ball. And yes, he did pick up the first down that time for the Rams. First down and 10 to go. We'll call it the 50. The ball is sitting just maybe a nose shy of the 50-yard line. Vardaman Rams step up to the line of scrimmage once again. First down and 10 to go. Horton still in the backfield along with West's quarterback. Give this time it's the first man through, but the ball come loose, and that time Isaiah Thomas put a pop on the running back. That was a good shot that time by Thomas, but unfortunately was not aware that the ball did come loose. Sort of a trouble exchange that time. Let the quarterback just hand it off a little too hard as Edmondson come through with a full head of steam that time, but able to have enough head about him to take and fall over on top of that ball after it popped loose. Lucky break that time for the Rams. West is still your quarterback. Give this time is to Horton. Horton's following his blocker, finds a hole, finds a seam, hits the sidelines, and is finally drug out of bounds. Good piece of running that time by Horton. Horton able just to see that little seam and able to slip through it, picking up the first down for the Rams. But there is a penalty on the play. We'll see what the officials decide to call this. And it is going to go against the Rams, holding against the Rams. So to negate that good run that time by Horton and back him up yet again, another break for the Trojans. After that one big play get away, Vardaman shot themselves in the foot, backing them up. So the Rams back up to the line of scrimmage. West still your quarterback. Edmondson and Horton in the backfield. Two receivers on the far side of the field. Give once again. It's the second man through. Nothing doing that time as a whole host of Trojans in on the tackle. So the Rams, the ball, I'll say, on the 43-yard line. West is your quarterback, Edmondson and Horton in the backfield. Spread receivers on both sides of the field this time. Pitch out is to Horton. This is where Horton's dangerous. He's got good speed, but this time Bruce cuts it up pretty good. But there is yet again another flag on the play. And once again, holding is the call against the Rams, so Coach Bray can't like that too much, as that is the second time he's had holding called in this series. So back him up again right now. And Vardaman really doing, all they're doing is shooting themselves in the foot right now and helping the Trojans more than they're helping their own cause. Vardaman approaching the line of scrimmage. As you see the rain still pouring down, as you see fans in the background on Vardaman's side with the umbrellas already up. As West checks off the play, communicating with his line, running back in his line. Everybody get on the same page as you see Horton, the lone man in the backfield. Pitch out is to Horton. Horton sees the seam. He cuts it up the field, but nothing doing that time. But Horton fighting, but could not get it to go. As finally a whole host of Trojans that time breaking down once again, and leading the way is going to be number 53 for the Trojans. And you see an injured Ram on the field. He's holding his leg, so that more than likely in this heat's going to be a leg cramp. We'll take a break, and we'll be back after this. And we're back to action. Once again, I'd like to remind everyone we were experiencing some technical difficulty at Carter Field during the night, and we have lost our contact with the microphone right now. So we're back to action here as Adam Gorse bringing you the commentary from TV7 from the studio. As you see, Vardaman gets off a good punt that time, able to down it inside what looks to be the 20-yard line. I'd like to remind everyone that next week we'll be bringing you the Bruce Catlin City ball game here on W07BN, and hopefully we'll be able to have all the bugs worked out by that time. As we said, we had pretty bad technical difficulty with the weather tonight due to rain. We lost contact with some of our mics. Hopefully we'll be able to work those out here pretty soon. As you see, Bean steps in as quarterback with Brown dotting the I in the backfield. There's the pitch out to Brown. Brown getting a blocker, but drugged down from behind by Caleb Tedder. Caleb Tedder did a good job tonight, being all over the field every time during the ball game, getting tackles left and right. So Caleb Tedder is showing now that he's going to be a key factor or a key player for this Vardaman Ram defense that a lot of people said would be lacking since they lost Odie Armstrong, who was one of the best two-way players in the state last year. They said the defense might be hurting some this year, but Caleb Tedder's done a good job stepping up tonight and taking over that spot. I do believe we have a timeout on the field, and we are going to take it with them as we'll be back after this. And we're now joining the action in the fourth quarter of play from Carter Field. As you say, there's a give to the second man through, which is now Isaiah Thomas. And I tell you what, this guy's listed as an 8th grader, and that's a big 8th grader. Josh and I talked about it, but unfortunately you can't really hear it right now because of technical difficulty. But I appreciate Jeremy Brown and Josh Chandler coming out tonight and helping me with this ball game. Be sure and go by and thank all these sponsors that you have seen tonight, and tell them thank you for sponsoring local sports here on TV7 Bruce, TV 34 Calhoun City. As once again Thomas dots the I in the backfield. If this is what we read off the roster, that this kid's an 8th grader. If you are, you're looking at the future of Bruce football right there, and what a future that's ahead of him, really. Because this, as we said, is a pretty big kid, and you saw right there he's demonstrating his speed offensively, as he's been showing off really all night. Defensively, being just all over the field, making tackle after tackle. So I'll tell you what, this kid right now is going to be a guy to look after, especially for anybody that's really scouting out this team or might be looking for a player for the future, as college-wise. This kid right here is going to be it. So right now it's just really going to take him dedicating himself to football and just saying, hey, look, this is what I want to do, and I want to be able to do it because I can do it well. Actually, the officials are calling for a measurement. I do believe they're going to be just short of the first down, and that is the case. So it's going to be fourth down and less than a yard to go for the Trojans. Trojans step up to the line of scrimmage. Two receivers to the far side, two men in the backfield. There's a give to the second man through. This time nothing doing. The Vardaman Rams really closed him up that time. And I do believe the Trojans turn it over on downs once again to the Rams. And that is the case. It is Trojans ball. No, check that. Rams ball after the Trojans turn it over on downs. Once again, I'd like to apologize for the technical difficulties we are experiencing, or we did experience during the ball game due to the weather. West is still in as your quarterback. So the give is to Horton. Horton finding the hole, slips up through there. Good little job that time. As soon as Horton saw the hole, saw that it's closed, he just got his body real low and tried to just gain what he could, as he did a good job that time. Tackle made by Brown. It looks like Willie Malone also in on that tackle. Update some scores for you from Calhoun Academy. Calhoun Academy loses 8-6 to Kemper Academy, and also Calhoun City on the losing end, 36-12 to Winona. Houston also shut out 29-0 by South Haven. And Water Valley loses to Itawamba AHS 48-32. Pontotoc wins 10-0 over Ripley. North Pontotoc, the victor over South Pontotoc. As you take a look at the line right there, that is a future of Bruce football. I tell you what, right now is a bright future, because they're starting to show signs of what they was looking for last year, that dominating force to resurface for this team. Right now, they're really showing signs of it. Right now they just got to keep their confidence built up and just not really let their heads down after they do let a team score on them pretty quick, as they did with the Vardaman Rams tonight. But other than that, once this Bruce team is able to get the wheels under them and get some game experience with them, this is going to be a very dangerous team in their division. They could, as you say, be a dark horse in their division to come up and maybe upset and bump one of the four mainstream teams out of the fourth and last playoff spot. If not, go ahead and get that fourth playoff spot as soon as division play begins. So Vardaman once again close to the end zone, looking to take it in. There's a give to Horton. Horton follows Mims in. Mims just clearing the way that time. Mims a powerful boy, just able to open up the hole that time for Horton to go on in the end zone to add another touchdown. As you see the people in the background with their umbrellas, the rain still coming down at Carter Field in Vardaman, Mississippi. Really been raining all day, so that field's soaking wet right now. And, what looked like we hardly ever would get any rain. Then all of a sudden it turns around. Once football season rolls around, it's going to start flooding. As you see, Guerrero is going to be on to attempt the extra point. Snap is back, and the kick is going to be blocked that time. Good job by Bruce. I'll tell you what, the way Bruce has been after punts and kickoffs tonight, or field goal attempts, they're going to block a lot of them. I'll tell you what, Bruce has just got that good special teams block, punt, and defense. So they got good speed, and that time you saw the guy just clear to jump over the line of scrimmage that time to block that one. But with that, we'll go to a break and be back after this. And once again, apologizing for the technical difficulty we experienced tonight at the ball game. Be sure and go out and thank these fine sponsors that are sponsoring our ball game tonight. As you see, Vardaman once again kicking off with a 27-0 lead over the Bruce Trojans. That right there was a near turnover that time on the part of Bruce. What looked to be a turnover at the time. I really didn't see the player go down that time, but the officials had a better view than we did, I guess. I guess they said his knee did touch the ground, so the ball will belong to Bruce. 1st and 10, just past the 20-yard line. We'll call it the 21. That's the second time tonight that we've seen Vardaman almost recover a kickoff by Bruce not really getting on top of the ball and hustling. You got to remember, once that ball goes past 10 yards, that's a live ball for either team to pick up, especially the Vardaman Rams. We saw John Harden almost picking one up that may have bounced off him and went out of bounds. And that time, Bruce just sort of fell asleep and fortunately able to hold on to that ball and not let it fumble away, as it appeared that it was a fumble earlier, but the officials said that it wasn't. The officials trying to straighten things out here. A little confusion on the field right now, but I believe we do have a timeout called. I'll tell you what, we'll keep it here. We'll read you some of our sponsors. Quick Cash, Calhoun Apparel, Body Pageant and Formal Wear, Bruce Furniture, Eddie Brown, Custom Coverage, Hunter's Hollow of Oxford, Kim and Company of Bruce, Tri-State Termite Control, Kelwood Outlet, Pryor Funeral Home, Spratlands, Step Saver, Weeks Big Star, Warehouser, Ward Shortstop, Grocer's Pride, Grisanti Rebel Motors, Pollen Furniture, TDS Telecom, Parker Brothers, Merchants and Farmers Bank, Oxford Toyota, Pontotoc Electric Power Association, Jackson Implement Company, Custom Auto, Bruce Telephone Company, Dr. Longest, Jody's Restaurant, Bruce Insurance Agency, and Bank Corp South, along with Sunset Auto. Be sure and go out and thank all those sponsors for bringing you tonight's action. And once again, apologizing for the technical difficulty we experienced due to weather, not being able to bring you the live broadcast or the live words that we actually put on the air. This is Adam Gore at the station giving you the play-by-play. There is a give, looks like to give around that time. Scampering out as quarterback Bean, trying to make something out of another. He's done a good job tonight when he did have to scramble. Is this going to be a flag on the play? Face mask is the call. I believe that is Caleb Tedder, the injured Ram on the field. Still is to be shaken up. We'll take a break, and we'll be back after this. And we're back to action. As you see, there is Isaiah Thomas running up the middle, get the ball up to the 50-yard line. Good piece of running by the young man that time. I believe we'll give him credit. They're going to put him, mark him back down about the 48-yard line. So that time right there, Bruce did a good job. Just a quick play up the middle. Big run that time as he picked the first down. Brown is now moved in as your quarterback for the Trojans. Brown was to keep it on the run that time. Nowhere to go, as he might have picked up maybe a yard, got back to the original line of scrimmage for the Bruce Trojans. Officials talking things over. I think we're ready to set back play now as the Bruce Trojans step up to the line of scrimmage, trailing this ball game 27-0. Quick score updates once again. Calhoun Academy loses to Kemper Academy 8-6. Calhoun City loses 36-12. To Winona. As there's a fumble on the play, picked up that time by the Vardaman Rams. That's classic Vardaman Rams football. You turn over the football, and they're going to be quick to the ball and able on top of it. Also, Pontotoc wins over Ripley 10-0. Water Valley loses to Itawamba AHS, and North Pontotoc winner over South Pontotoc. Remember to go by and thank all of our sponsors for sponsoring tonight's action, along with future action here on W07B and TV7. And once again, while I mention it, apologizing for the technical difficulty we had tonight due to the weather. And we'll return to action shortly after this. And we're back as Vardaman steps up to the line of scrimmage. That's going to be Matt Long stepping in as quarterback, your new quarterback in the ball game. So getting some more experience for the guys that don't get to play that much. As you see, the give is to the second man through. There's the man, Tony Shaw, running up the middle. Good piece of running that time, getting the ball out to about the 25-yard line for Shaw. First down for the Rams. So the Rams continue to be able to move the ball pretty well against this Bruce Trojan team getting late in the ball game, fourth quarter. 1st and 10 for the Rams. I'd like to remind everyone next week we'll be bringing you the rival game between Bruce and Calhoun City at Bruce. And also, Vardaman will be hosting Moorville. That is picked to be one of the Daily Journal's top games of the week. A must-see game, as they called it. Now, of course, Vardaman, as we talked to Coach Bray earlier, said they had a pretty easy time with Moorville last year, but Moorville's got a lot of returning people that should be a strong team this year. There's a give to the second man through, nothing doing that time, as Bruce wrapped that one up all on top of it that time by the Trojans. Big loss that time for the Rams. There's a fumble on the play that time by the Rams. We'll see who able to get on top of it. Referees clearing everyone out. I do believe it's going to remain Vardaman Ram football. Yes, as Matt Long was able to fall on top of it, trying to fight it away was Willie Malone that time for the Trojans. But the Rams do hold on for possession of the ball. As the Rams step up to the line of scrimmage, Matt Long has moved in as your quarterback, replacing West. There once again is another fumble. Long this time falls on it once again, so back-to-back fumbles. That ball is obviously getting wet out there on that soaked field. I do believe the rain has slacked up some now at Carter Field, maybe just to a light drizzle, but no, they say that the Trojans fell on top of that one, so the Trojans get the ball back this time. And I do believe we're going to have an official's timeout. Yes, that is the case. Vardaman does call the timeout. And we're back to action as the Trojans get the ball back after a Ram turnover. As you see there, sprinting to the outside, finally running out of bounds, stopping the clock. Is the Trojans? Trojans trying to get points on the board here late in the ball game as your score is 27-0. As you see a shot of Rudy Pope, Coach Pope, that is that time on the sidelines. Not to remind everyone, apologizing for the technical difficulty we experienced tonight due to the weather out at Carter Field. This is Adam Gore coming to you from the studio at TV7. As it is the Rams football, or correct that, Trojans football. As Brown has moved in as your quarterback. Give is to the last man through. Finally brought down by the Rams. Not much going that time. We'll give him credit for maybe about a gain of 1 or 2 on the play, depending on the spot of the official. We'll give him credit for about 1 yard on the play, bringing the ball up to about the 36-yard line. Vardaman showing a 3-man front with everybody else lining up pretty tight to the line of scrimmage. As you see, once again, the wet ground coming a factor for the Trojans as the running back that time slips down as he tries to make his move towards the hole in the backfield. Not able to do so as his feet slipped out from under him, so we'll give him credit getting back to the line of scrimmage. Once again, the Trojans step up to the line of scrimmage. Fake little give that time as Brown rolls around, cutting it back across field, trying to pick up some blockers. Still have some blockers. He could be breaking it loose here. Finally broke down from behind, was a touchdown saving tackle, splashing down in the mud right there. But a good job of scrambling that time by the quarterback. That's Brown that time. He sort of like he got in trouble and able to cut back across field using the momentum of the Vardaman Rams against themselves that time, not be able to plant that well against going to the other side of the field and picking up some good blocks right there as the line was really cluttered up. Picking up a big gain that time as picks up the first down. Once again, apologizing for the technical difficulty. As the Trojans step up to the line, Brown is still your quarterback. Trojans trying a different set this time as Bean was your main quarterback. As there's a miscommunication between quarterback and running back that time as the running back ran into the quarterback, really broke up that play. Doing a good job of holding on to the football, though, that time by the Trojans, not being able to just let that ball fly to the ground and lose possession. So once again, getting back to, we'll say, just shy of the original line of scrimmage, just shy of the 40-yard line. We'll call it the 41. And I do believe we have a timeout called. And that is the case. We'll be back after this. And we're back after that short break. As you see, Trojans rolling out to pass, throwing it up in the air. Pass way short, intended for receiver that time. Missed communication between receiver and quarterback that time. It's like one went on a fly, and the other one was looking for him to cut back on the inside. Nothing doing that time. Pass incomplete, stops the clock for the Trojans. As we said, the Trojans trying to put some points on the board here in the late going of this ball game. Once again, Calhoun City and Calhoun Academy loses tonight. Calhoun City loses to Winona 32-12 or 36-12, and Calhoun Academy loses to Kemper 8-6. I'd like to remind everyone that next week we will have the Calhoun City and Bruce ball game. You see, there is a fumble by the Trojans. Once again, that wet ball becoming a factor in this ball game. Good job picking it up that time. Was number 61 for the Rams. As you see, just 1.1 second left in the ball game. 27-0 is your score. And as soon as time runs out, that is going to do it for us tonight here on W07BN. And that is your ball game, folks. Once again, be sure and go out and thank all of our sponsors for tonight's action. And be sure and look forward to more action here on W07BN TV7 Bruce, TV34 Calhoun City.